So we'll just wait a few minutes here.
You're live already, dude. It says live.
I know that I'm live. I just said we'll wait and see if some folks come over, and I'm going to put a couple of tags out. Just give me 1 second.
Oops. Uh-oh. Hold on a second here. Okay, I'm putting the chat up against the StreamYard window. Hi, Jax. Welcome.
Hi, Jax.
Feel free to join the panel if you want.
Absolutely.
The more the merrier. You know, different viewpoints make for a better discussion.
Yes, they do.
You got a link that we can give him?
Yeah. The one I sent you.
Do you want to put it in his? Oh yeah, I know which one it is. Okay, I can put it in his personal Hangout. Hold on, rather than on the chat. Hold on.
Good deal.
I'm gonna put this over here. Every time I do something, it disappears. Okay, Jax, I'm going to put the link in your Hangout, in your private Hangout. If you feel like joining, you'll have the link, okay?
Yeah, Jax, please feel free to join us, man.
Let's see here. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So I can get rid of this then.
Okay. You want to go ahead and get started?
Sure.
All right, folks. Listen, welcome to Tommy Highway TV. We really appreciate you being here. I, of course, as always, am your host, Tommy Highway. And, of course, I always have my main man with me. I've got Tim from UFO Man over there. I'd like to say hello there, Tim.
Hello, everyone.
We are doing the show this evening because we want to be able to have a fair and rational conversation about race relations in the country at this point. I mean, everybody knows what's happening right now. The country's basically on fire. We're basically at a state of civil war. In fact, I'm not even going to say basically anymore. That's where we are. But let's go ahead and talk about, how we got there. Well, first of all, everyone saw the video of that cop killing that man. Everyone saw that. And that was incredibly hard to watch. I mean, to be honest with you, when you look at that, to me, I mean, okay, you got a guy on the ground. He's handcuffed. He's on his stomach. I mean, he's really not a threat at that point. What is the point in holding your knee into someone's neck like that for 7 or 8 minutes? What is the point of doing that? Because I got to tell you, here's the thing. I'm in reasonably good condition. And if I were to kneel down and put my body in the same position that police officer's body was in, I'm going to tell you right now, after 1 minute or so, that's going to be very uncomfortable for me. And I'm going to want to change positions. So the fact that this guy actually was able to keep his knee in that man's neck for 7 or 8 minutes, either it's one of two things. Either it's the most grossly incompetent thing that I've ever seen in my life, or it was intent. It was one of the two, though. It was.
There was supposedly information in regards to Floyd worked at a bar or something where the police officer was an off-duty security officer there.
Yeah.
So he knew Floyd in advance.
Right.
So they think there may have been some issues there.
I mean, I just can't imagine that this happened the way it happened. I mean, but let's take a few steps back and let's take a look at some things here at this point. I mean, Floyd was out there passing bad money around town. Okay, he's doing that. And when you do that, you should expect that you are going to draw police presence at some point. I mean,
Right.
you know, it's illegal big time to do that.
Counterfeit
But-
money, yeah.
Right. Now, that being said, I mean, you know, again, to me, it looked like the guy was under complete control. What you do in that scenario is that you cuff them, get off of them, and then if they give you any more problems at that point, you break out your taser and you tase the son of a bitch until he starts breakdancing. That's what you do. That's what the taser is for. All right. But that, for whatever reason, did not happen. And this man was suffocated in front of for the world to see. I mean, my God.
It almost seemed like it was a setup. Yeah.
I cannot believe that this happened. So, I mean, the cop is obviously guilty. He's obviously gonna pay the price for what he's done. But
yeah.
Does that make this racism? How do we know that this cop had racial intent when he killed this person? How do we know that? Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that they're going to dig way into this guy's life. They're going to know everything about him. And, you know, maybe he is a racist. Maybe he does belong to some racist groups or run with those people or whatever. Maybe he does. But I don't know that. Okay. I don't know that. So for us to automatically just jump into this and say, oh, it's racism. This is racism. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I want to introduce you to an elderly couple. Let me pull it up here on my screen. Oh, here he is. Hey, Jax.
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome, Jax.
Good, man.
Hi.
Where'd you go?
Oops.
There you are.
I double clicked him. Man. Let me pull this up. Let me share my screen.
Good to see you, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is, man. Okay, can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Tim, are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. This old couple right here, Army veteran 86 and his wife 85, who were executed in a random act of violence while visiting their son's grave. Okay, first of all, I guess let's ask the question. If a person is in a cemetery and they're visiting someone's gravestone, is there any possible way that that person could be minding any more of their own business than that?
No.
Is there any more of a solemn experience that a person can have? So this couple are in this cemetery visiting their son's grave site. Black male right here, this guy right here, Sheldon C. Francis, 29 years old, came along and brutally murdered them with a firearm. This didn't happen years ago. This happened last month, not even a month ago. Now, since we're automatically assuming that that police officer killing Floyd is a racial attack, why are we not considering this a racial attack? What is the difference here? What is the difference? Look at this white couple. Look at these people. Here they are right here. Look at those folks. Now, can you imagine the kind of brutality in somebody's skull and somebody's heart that would want to go and snuff two people like this out? I mean, with a gun. What was he too chicken shit to fight the old man? Is that what this was about, folks? But these people are dead because of the acts of a black male for no goddamn reason. Yet we're not hearing that anything about. We're the black leaders on this one. Where's the black community? Where's the outrage? Where is it? You don't hear it, do you? Because it doesn't exist. Why doesn't it exist?
It's because white lives don't
white people's
matter.
lives just as important as everybody else's?
No, not anymore. Right now, it's just Black Lives Matter. It's not all lives matter.
I mean, it's really
it should
starting.
be all lives matter, in my opinion.
That's how I look at it.
Yes, it shouldn't
Absolutely.
be just
Sure.
Black
Absolutely.
Lives Matter. That's wrong.
No question. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to introduce you to another person. Okay? This young woman, when it comes up, okay, this young woman right here, Tessa Majors, okay? She was a college student in New York. Look at that beautiful young girl. Look at that beautiful young white girl right there. What happened to Tessa, you ask? Well, Tessa was attacked by a group of out-of-control young black males and stabbed to death. She is now dead. That beautiful young girl right there, you see that beautiful young face right there? That girl right there will not ever get to be a wife. She will never get to be a mother, okay? She will never get to have any more joy in her life ever because her life is over. And her life is over because, again, she was killed, excuse me, by a black male. Yet, again, where are the cries of racism? Where are the cries of racism? Where is the black community? Where's Al Sharpton? Where's Jesse Jackson? Where are they?
Where are
nowhere
the
to be found?
Where are the
so
white,
I guess because
where are the white people that are taking the side of the Black Lives Matter group? Where are the white actors and actresses? Where are the politicians crying racism or crying murder for no apparent reason by a black man or by any type of race for that matter?
Right. So, at this point, these are just two of many examples. And again, these are fresh things. These things just happened. I think the major thing might have happened about 6 months ago, December 11th. So about 6 months ago. And like I say, the old couple, they just happened the 15th of last month. But we never hear anything about that. But here's the thing. If a white person kills a black person, it is automatically accepted as an act of racism no matter what. Now, what's wrong with this picture? Well, I've actually got another video that I want to run for you. And maybe this will shed a little bit of light on what we're trying to say, what we're talking about here. See, it's like I was saying earlier. I have maybe 12 run-ins with the law in my life. A couple of those are speeding tickets. All right. But the reason that I don't interact with the police is because I don't go around and do shit that would get on their radar to get in their orbit. I don't do that. In other words, I'm not a criminal. I'm not a scumbag. I'm not out for no good. Now, me, for instance, I mean, hell, I've got a career, and from time to time I have a second job. Like right now, I've got 2 full-time jobs. Okay. Now, me personally, I don't think I could be more productive as a citizen if I had a light bulb sticking out of my asshole. Okay. So, I mean, it's possible to do that. And nobody gave me anything. I mean, I had a decent family and all that, but what I did was I got a job and I talked the employer into giving me paying for some education. Then I went and got a better job. And then I did that again and a better job and a better job. And that's how I got my career. I worked for it. So it's very important that we teach our youth that working for things that we want is important. Would everybody not agree with that?
No, I agree. Can you tell us that story about that young African American teen that broke into a house because he wanted money for college?
Right. I'm going to go ahead and play this video, and it's just a couple of minutes. But I mean, I remember when I first saw this video, and it's a couple of years old now. I was downright disturbed by this. I was absolutely disturbed by what you're about to see. It's just unbelievable. And it's not the crime. That's not what I'm talking about here. You'll see. Let me pull it up here. Okay, here we go, folks.
Did you click the
There's no volume.
did you click the enable sound button, Tommy?
Okay.
You need to back out of the video and then click the enable sound.
Just a second. No, I didn't. I know. Yeah, I got it, Tim. Just give me a second, bud.
Yep, no problem.
Really? Okay, let me go back and do this again. Where's the
Just go down to the share screen button and click it.
volume button? Where's it at?
Okay, now click your share screen again. And when you do, down in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a little check mark box. It'll say enable sound or enable audio.
Yeah, there it is. Share audio.
Yeah, click that and then go ahead and play your video.
Okay, let's try this again. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, sorry about that. All right.
A homeowner fights back, shooting and killing a would-be burglar. Police say she shot and killed the teenage thief while he was climbing out of her window. CBS Sports' Gabby Fleischman is live at the scene with the latest. Gabby.
Vanessa, neighbors tell me that this home has been burglarized in the past, which is why the homeowner set up these surveillance cameras. Detectives say the security system actually alerted the homeowner of the break-in last night. We did get a chance to speak with the sister and the cousin of the young man who was killed, and they say they don't understand why that homeowner had to take matters into her own hands instead of waiting for police.
I don't care if she have her gun license, her rights, or any of that. That is way beyond the law, way beyond.
Relatives of 17-year-old Trayvon Johnson are angry. The teenager was shot and killed last night by a homeowner who police say was protecting her property.
He was not supposed to die like this. He had a future ahead of him. Trayvon had goals. He was very big on education.
Looks like it.
He loved learning.
Last night, Miami-Dade police say the D.A. Dorsey Technical College student burglarized a home south of 79th Street near I-95, just blocks away from where he lives. Detectives say the 54-year-old homeowner was alerted of the break-in by her security system. With officers already on their way, she rushed home to check things out, and police say she was armed.
She observed a subject exiting the home through the rear.
According to detectives, there was a confrontation and one shot was fired. Johnson was pronounced dead at the hospital.
Hey, what's wrong with her? She did not have to shoot him. There's no reason that she should have waited until after he walked out the yard to try to shoot him. If she called the police already, then why would she shoot him?
Relatives say they don't believe Johnson stole anything from the home, but detectives would not confirm that.
You have to understand, you have to look at it from every child's point of view that was raised in the hood. How he gonna get his money to have clothes to go to school?
While the investigation continues into whether the shooting was justified or not, detectives want to remind the public that if possible, it's best not to take these types of situations into your own hands. But detectives would not confirm that.
You have to understand, you have to look at it from every child's point of view that was raised in the hood. How he gonna get his money to have clothes to go to school?
While the investigation continues into whether the shooting was...
Okay, how is he going to get his money for his clothes?
To go to school.
To go to school.
Get a job.
Okay. Now let's analyze this for a second. Now at 17, my parents were largely still paying for all my stuff. They were still putting clothing on me for the most part, food in my belly, roof over my head, because, my family was doing their job. That's why they were raising a child. Now, when you heard that woman, if a kid is raised in the hood, in her direct quote, in the hood, how is he going to get his clothes money for school? It never seems to occur to that person that perhaps a part-time job might be the way to go. Maybe go out and get a responsible job as a young person. I mean, I don't care what hood you're in. There's a Wendy's, there's a McDonald's, there's a Hardy, there's something there that these kids can go and find themselves to do. But if you notice, apparently this kid was conditioned to believe that there's no reason to go and get a job and be responsible and earn what he wants, okay? When he can just break into someone else's home, and take their property that they spent their hard-earned money on to purchase. Okay, that's what this kid was taught. Does anybody disagree with what I just said here?
No.
No, I do believe that's the case.
Yeah, I
Hey,
mean,
can
it's right there. It's right there for all.
Can I just add something to that?
Sure.
Please do.
In a lot of the other states, not so much like back in Massachusetts, but not anymore at least, but a lot of the states, breaking in and entering either a home or business and get caught, that owner has every right to shoot you. And if you die, you die.
Yeah, Colorado's like that here. Mm-hmm.
That's just,
Minnesota has a law that if you come to the door and you are trying to force your way into the door, okay, but you're not in the house, I have the right to shoot you on the front porch as long as you fall inside the door.
Yeah, I've heard of those laws too. Yep.
If you fall inside the door, it's not murder, it's self-defense.
Mm-hmm. Let me regale you guys with a story. And this is something that I'm still having a hard time with. I'll be honest with you. And, not a lot happens to me that I have a hard time with, but I have a hard time with this one. I just found something out in 2017, but let me set the Wayback Machine all the way back to the year of 1986. Okay. I had just moved from Ohio, from a high school that was, let's say, like a neighborhood type high school. It wasn't, it's just run of the mill high school. And I moved to Des Moines, Iowa, to this high school that was like a friggin' university. I mean, this place was huge, man. I mean, it was, you had a lot more freedoms and stuff than you had, where I was used to. It was very intimidating for me. Okay. It was, I was kind of freaked out. I was about to be a junior in high school. I was a junior that year, and I was on the football team, and I met this guy. I'm not going to use his name, but black guy, and a real good guy. He took me around, showed me all the ropes, showed me around all the places, what to do, what not to do. I mean, he really took care of me, and I never forgot him for that. I mean, he became like a hero of mine. In fact, in 3 decades later, from time to time, I would still think about this guy and be, and wonder if he's still okay, if he's alive, dead, whatever. Well, I think it was 2017, just a couple of years ago. I ran into him on Facebook, and, I sent a friend request. He accepted, and I was just thrilled to see this guy because, again, he was kind of a hero of mine. Shit, he was a hero of mine. And my heroes list is about that fucking long, okay? And getting shorter by the day, I might add. But so I get to chatting with him. Hey, buddy, how you doing? All this other stuff. We didn't get 2 minutes into a conversation before he started mentioning the fact that he wanted to exterminate the white race. And I'm talking about, this was so over the top, fellas, that, I thought, you're messing with me. Come on, man. But nobody talks like that. He wasn't messing with me. He was serious. And I have never, I tell you, I have lived in Ohio, Iowa, Florida, and Colorado, been to all kinds of other states. And even down in central Florida, I'm talking about where people's necks are red all the way down to their ass, okay? That's how red their necks are. I never met a racist down there. I never met anybody that I could say was a racist. In fact, I've never met another white person in my lifetime that I can actually classify as a racist. Isn't that odd? Isn't that strange? Anybody?
Well, I can.
Tim?
I've actually met a couple of people
they're out there,
extremely racist and prejudiced because they're old school. They're the older generation that were raised in predominantly white America, where they didn't have exposure to any other races. So they were taught black is bad, Asians bad, Hispanics bad, blah, blah, blah. White is the top of the food chain, pretty much. And I've actually met a lot of people who used to be KKK members because, see, I'm from Indiana, and there's a city called Maryville, Indiana. Maryville, Indiana is attached to a city called Gary. Gary, Indiana is predominantly African-American community. When you go to Maryville, which is connected on the northern side of Gary, it is predominantly white. The KKK hangs out in Maryville. Every summer, the KKK does a grand march through Maryville into Gary. Believe it or not, Gary puts up with it because Gary is allowed to march for Black rights through Maryville. So whether the KKK is racist or not, they are allowing peaceful protests from the Black community, which is interesting if you think about it. But if you talk to any of the KKK members, they are extremely racist. And yes, they do talk about exterminating the Black race.
Oh, yeah.
Just like your friend did. All I can say is yes, I have met racial white people, and I've met them around here where I live now in Minnesota, the epicenter of what happened to George Floyd. So, you know, it's really uncanny that you hear white people going, Black Lives Matter, we deny our white privilege, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. You're white. You're just saying that so you don't get your butt kicked. That's what's happening. All I know is there are people that believe in Black Lives Matter that are white. But I believe in all lives matter. And that's where I stand.
So do I.
Agreed.
You know, it doesn't matter if you're Black or if you're Chinese, if you're, you know, whatever.
Who cares?
It don't matter. We're all human beings underneath. And considering that what we're going through right now,
with
regardless,
COVID-19 even.
Without going any further than that, just saying that, you know, it's that we should be pulling together, not be doing this, you know, looting and all this other crap over it. You know,
that's one thing. Now that you brought that up briefly, I want to say one thing. I really believe that a lot of what's going on with the riots, it may have started out as a legitimate reason because of George Floyd's killing, but it has turned into an orchestrated event and orchestrated in several cities where there are piles of bricks, for instance, being set up in non-construction areas. Why are they being set up? You know, the theory is they're being set up so that paid protesters can come into the area where there are peaceful protests and turn it into a violent clash. Ramp up the rioting. Well, from what I understand, and I've watched a ton of video, and I'm sure you have too, Jax, in regards to, and so have you, Tommy, in regards to the riots. There are people appearing in cities that don't even belong to those cities. So they're being bussed in. They're being bussed in like they were at different crisis events that happened, you know, where we had mass shootings. People were being bussed in, right? Well, now they're being bussed into the riots. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, when it comes to these paid agitators, I'm absolutely for charging them with treason. I am absolutely okay with that, and I think that needs to happen. See, we've become so soft as a country that we're allowing shit to go on. That, I mean, imagine if this had gone on back in even the 90s. I mean, you would have seen the cops would have cut some people down at this point. There's no doubt about it. But because we continue to hamstring the police, and again, I mean, look, that Floyd was murdered by that cop. I mean, I'm sorry. I just can't call it anything other than that.
Right.
But again,
yep.
we're making an automatic leap that this is a racial issue, that this is, but again, like we said before, when the shoe's on the other foot, it's not racism.
Right.
It's not, right? Let me give you another example here, what I'm talking about. As you guys know, that sometimes I take, although I work a full-time day job, sometimes from time to time I get a second job. Well, about 3 or 4 years ago, I started working for this guy, a younger guy than I am, but I really liked him. I had nothing bad to say about him. And I want to make sure that I'm absolutely clear about something. This man has absolutely nothing bad to say about me. Nothing. He doesn't. I was an outstanding employee. I was a good friend, a good guy. It's just, my way. Very popular guy as a rule. And he's become, even though he's biracial, he's identifying as black, and he's become radical. So we've been chatting on Facebook the last few days, and the guy, he's just not a smart guy. He's just not. But and I've always known that. But I don't care about people based on their intelligence. But he starts to post all this radical crap and about against the cops, and he's glorifying the riots, and I'm like, man, that's not okay. It's not okay for you to be burning buildings down. It's not okay for you to be looting stores. For that, because I don't think that just because a black man was killed, then I don't think that stores should be looted. I don't think that people's businesses should be burned out that they've spent their entire life on, because I don't think that's okay.
Right.
Suddenly, I'm a racist.
That's wrong.
I'm a racist now. Because of that, I'm a racist. You see the mentality we're talking about here. Can you name 5 things in current American, in current day America? Can you name 5 things that aren't racist? Because I'm having a hard time coming up with 5 things that aren't racist. Because everything else is. What people have to understand is, let's look at facts on police shootings. Okay, I've got the stats right here. These are official stats, and these are compiled from the offices of DOJ for each year. Now, that also includes Eric Holder when he was the head of the DOJ, as well as, what was her name, the woman, Obama's girl. I'm talking about the last attorney general before Trump got elected. I'll think of her name in a second. Anyway, Lynch, Loretta Lynch. Okay.
Oh, yeah, Loretta Lynch.
So, yeah. So these figures that I'm about to drop on you here are coming from their offices too, and they're black. They're absolutely black people. So check this out. Let me go ahead and share again. Whoops. Okay, here we go. Okay. Now, let's look at the numbers here. We're going to start with 2017. Just 3 days ago, the site posted another bar graph showing that, in fact, whites are nearly twice as likely as blacks to be shot to death by police, and here are the numbers. So, in 2017, 457 white people were killed by police officers. 223 black people were killed by police officers. Okay? Now, 2018, 399 people, white people were killed by cops. 209 people, black people were killed. Sorry. So you can see the numbers. In 1990, my point being here, what the heck is this? Hang on a second here. Here we go. All right. Look at this. Every year, every single year.
It's okay. We see it.
Every single year. What the hell is this? Hang on a second. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Well, stop. Okay. So these numbers, every year, more white people, a lot more white people are killed by police than black people. I mean, these are real figures. Okay. These are real figures. Now, let's look at, let me pull this up. Tim, would you like to comment on that, or Jax?
It almost looks like it's a 2-to-1 ratio, doesn't it?
Tim?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, it does. Right.
But that's not the way it's being portrayed. It's being portrayed as if cops are shooting and killing masses of black men when that's, according to the numbers, are not correct.
Right, and that's what this former friend of mine, the guy I used to work for, was I was trying to tell him that's not true, and he keeps pushing that black people are killed by police every day, all the time, 24/7, and it's simply not true. It's a fucking lie. Is what it is.
Because more black men kill each other rather than cops killing black men.
Right. I'm going to bring this up right now. Okay. Let's take a look at some of these. These are FBI stats from the FBI.gov site. Okay. This is about as real as it can get, folks. Now let's look at these statistics. Okay. How does this work? Okay. Let's talk about murder and non-negligent manslaughter. In other words, you killed somebody. Okay. By race, and this is for what year? 2017. Okay. So now white people, okay, they've committed 188 offenses of murder or non-negligent homicide. Now look, here's the black number. They committed 5,025. Okay. Now that in and of itself, when you look at that number, it looks, I mean, like if you figure margin of error and all that, that looks pretty even, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But here's the problem with this number. We're not an even 50-50 society here. This number right here represents 13 to 14% of the population is creating this number right here. Okay. Whereas there's how many more white people that are committing this number? I mean, as a whole, you follow me? And am I making sense here? I mean, let's look at robberies. Okay. Well, here's robberies. White people, they committed 32,128 robberies, and black people committed 40,024 robberies. But again, we still have the numbers problem with the difference of the population. Okay, let's take a look at Chicago and Baltimore and all of those places.
Chicago.
Yeah. Now, it's like you could say to somebody, hey, did you hear about the big shooting in Chicago over the weekend? You know what you have to do? You have to say, which weekend? Which weekend would you be talking about? Because it happens every weekend. Right. Okay. So that's everyday gun violence that's going on all the time there. Now, let me ask you something. Let's just get down to brass tacks here. What neighborhoods is that happening in? When's the last time that you remember hearing about a white barbecue that was shot up? When's the last time? When's the last time you heard about a white street party being shot up? I mean, it happens. You know, it does happen, but it's rare.
I've never heard of it.
No.
I mean, it's a rare thing.
When's the last time you've heard of a white concert getting shot up? Because if you think about it, a rap concert, there's invariably a lot of times there are shootings.
Right.
Not
more
every
often than not.
Sometimes.
I mean, were rock bands back in the day shooting at each other?
No, I've never heard of any at a rock band concert.
Let's talk about this. If now that you mentioned music, okay, let's talk about the difference between rap music, at least a lot of rap music, and rock and roll. And imagine back in the day when rock and roll first came out, I mean, people like my grandparents' age, they thought it was going to be the devil's music. It was going to be the end of civilization and all that. Because they think about it. What do most rock songs sing about or talk about? They talk about sex and drugs.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty much, you put sex and drugs together, you can pretty much fit that into any rock song out there, or the most of them. And when you're talking about rap, you're talking about shooting somebody with drive-bys and blah, 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 and all this violence and shit like that. That's destructive. That's a problem. I was at my second job. It must have been a couple days ago. And I walked into the break room, where we, get staged and all, and clock in and everything. And there was this young black kid. He was listening to some music on his, phones, whatever. No big deal. And all of a sudden he starts singing the song, and it was nigga this and nigga then, cap the nigga, cap a nigga, cap a nigga. Blah. I mean, I'm going, What? You got to be kidding. This young guy is listening to that shit. So there's no doubt in my mind that the violence and that's inherent part of rap music is not helping, to say the least.
No,
You know?
Nope. And it's not just African American rap music either. It's white rap too, like Limp Bizkit, for instance. I like them, but they rap. They rap. You know, they're angry rap, pretty much.
I mean, at this point, what we're doing here is we're ignoring the problem, because here's the thing. If we can get, where'd it go? The FBI. If we can get this number right here, if we can reduce this number, the amount of murders committed by African Americans, wouldn't that actually be better for the African American community? Wouldn't that be better? Wouldn't that be better for them? So I have a proposal here. You see, as a gun guy, I am sick, and I mean sick to death, of people coming for my gun rights. Oh, they want my guns. My guns have never killed anybody, and hopefully they'll never have to. But for whatever reason, and again, like that young girl said, the hood. Okay, this seems to be a common practice. You want to stop that crap. You want to kill the gangs off. You want to stop the day-to-day gun violence in the inner cities. Is that what you want to do? I got a real simple solution. It's real easy too. All you do is, when you catch a convicted felon with a firearm, or you catch a person with a stolen firearm, what you do is you take that person out of society, you place them into a supermax prison. A super max prison where they have a little square concrete box, and that's where they live the rest of their life at. They don't get to hang with the boys. It's not going to be that kind of trip. Prison shouldn't be fun. And that's what you do. And if we do that, sure, we're going to be incarcerating a bunch of dickheads. I'm okay with that, because they're out of society now. They're no longer a threat to any of us. But why won't we do that? Because if we did that, it would be a mass incarceration of minorities. No doubt about it. I mean, hell, I carry a gun everywhere I go. I mean, I'm an armed citizen, for God's sake. You know what? I haven't had to draw my weapon once. I mean, I've been carrying for years, and I have never had to draw my weapon in anger once. In fact, I even beat a guy's ass one time when I was armed, and I didn't even think about my gun being on me. I didn't want to kill him. I wanted to beat his ass. He had it coming. But see, that's my mentality. Now, would that ring true if it were someone else?
Not necessarily, no.
But what we've done here is we're ignoring the big problem. And the biggest problem that we have the biggest problem the African community has is itself. And you just saw that in that video I played with that young woman talking about, their value system. You don't need to go get a job when you can go steal it. I mean, it came right out of her mouth. We all heard it. That's what I took away from that. And that's what these kids growing up there are going through. They don't have a chance.
Can I add something? I'm going to add this. Not all parts of the African American community are conditioned in that way. It depends on their upbringing and where they were raised and what type of family they had. It's not necessarily the same across the board. And I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh, the breakdown of the family is absolutely the worst thing that could happen to the black community. I mean, you've got black men out there, and I've seen this over and over on television. Some of them got 20, 30 kids out there with 20, 30 women.
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, when you got 30 kids, I'm sorry, you can't spend quality time with a lot of them. It ain't going to happen.
I agree.
Dex, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm just like, I'm flabbergasted because the way that we're talking right now, it's still like the black community, the white community, we're all Americans. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're all Americans. We're all equal. We should be looking at it in that way. But the problem is
Right.
that the communities are not conditioned that way. Whites are not conditioned to believe that they are equal to the black community and vice versa.
Yeah.
It all comes down to the black community's perception of how many of them are actually being killed by police. And as we just saw in the FBI figures, and we just saw in all those other figures, that's not the case. Way more white people are killed every year by police. But the media will not push that narrative. The media won't tell the truth. It's like the media, they want to egg this shit on. They want this to happen so they get better ratings, you know? And I mean, hell, the CNN building just got attacked and they denied that happened. We saw the video of them doing it, you know? This is the kind of shit that we've had to put up with here. And we're just going to have to clean the slate. We're just going to have to, I think personally that we're already in a civil war. I think we've stepped in there now, and this is just the beginning of it. This is going to happen. Okay.
Well, there is definitely civil unrest. I guarantee that. Yeah.
What's about to come is going to make the COVID-19 thing look like a fucking vacation. I'm telling you that right now. That's where we're headed, because the trucks will stop moving then. Once we get into a big civil conflict, there will be no more food delivered. All right.
Do you believe that when the rhetoric of the COVID-19 was starting to fall apart, where states were starting to defy stay-at-home orders and starting to open up their retail businesses and whatnot against gubernatorial orders and whatnot, do you think that possibly the riots were ramped up to take attention away from the COVID-19 issue?
When it comes to our government, whether it's state, local, federal, I mean, I wouldn't put anything past any of them, and that's a fact. I'd like to know, like you were talking about.
Sorry,
I was just going to say, I'd like to know, like you were talking about earlier. You know, those pile of bricks being strategically located. I mean, somebody set that up, obviously, and whoever did that needs to be tried as a traitor and executed.
Right.
Sorry. I mean, if that's not insurgency, well, hell, what is? But see, here's another thing that we need to take a look at, though, and I think that the black community should really take a real good look at this before it's too late. And that's the fact that it's like I said in my book, Get Trump. I don't have a copy handy, but like I said in my book, the cops are eventually going to walk away. All right. What's happening here is that the cops have been so chastised, and now they want to defund. Now they want to defund the police departments. Okay?
Oh, not just now, that.
If you're an American female,
they want to dismantle.
Right. If you're an American female, right? I mean, think about, if you're an American female, think about the country that you live in. Think about how many times we've heard of young women being abducted, raped, and murdered. How often do we hear that story? It's not when, it's how often. How often do we hear stories of young women being abducted and held as sex slaves for sometimes decades? How many times have we heard that country song in this country? Even lately. So for any female out there that thinks it's a good idea to defund the police, what's about to happen to her, she has coming. And I'm not going to apologize for that, okay? Because obviously the police are the only thing at this point that's keeping this nation in one piece. And now we've seen how the police department can't even handle rioters. Imagine what things are going to look like when the big guns come out, a couple million of them, or how about 100 million of them? Imagine what that's going to look like. And, you know, people, and I've heard people say, oh, well, the military will step in. Are they stepping in now? Let me tell you something. As an author, and even as a network engineer, being a network engineer essentially means that I'm like a professional researcher. Okay, that's what I do. And so I did my homework on my book. And what I came up with, and I've talked about this before, but what I came up with was, if we were to take our entire military, every single pair of rubber boots, and I'm talking about even recalling everybody from overseas, Okay. We got the whole team here in this country. We still don't have enough rubber boots on the ground to even properly cover the major population centers. So you got middle towns and small cities and small towns or whatever. They're never going to see the military. And the police, they're just going to blend into the scenery because they're going to be taking care of their own families. What happens then? I mean, you got to think big picture here, folks. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, we're going to have total collapse of the economy and total collapse of the country if that happens. National Guard has been standing behind the police officers. They're not even asserting they're
not armed
military orders. Yeah, they're not armed. The cops are, but I think one cop actually shot a rioter. Where was that? Louisville, Kentucky. Was that where it was, Jax? Do you remember?
I believe so.
Yeah, there was one rioter shot, and I don't know. They're not saying who the officer was that killed the rioter, but one rioter was killed by an armed police officer. Now,
good.
I don't know. I don't condone major acts of violence, but I am going to say this, that if rioters knew that they were risking their lives to do what they were doing in regards to looting, pillaging, and burning vehicles, houses, and businesses, I think that would be diminished greatly.
Agreed.
If they knew that they were going to be shot and killed, they would not do it quite so much.
Right, exactly. And that's why you have to meet that shit with force. And no force has been applied. The only force that has really been applied that's been lethal has been from business owners and stuff like that. There have been a couple business owners that popped a couple of these idiots. And as far as I'm concerned, those guys are heroes. I'll be honest with you. See, I'm not going for the whole, I'm outraged because this man is dead, so I'm going to go and loot the Foot Locker. I'm not going for this man is dead and I'm outraged, so I'm going to go ahead and this is my chance to get a bunch of big screen TVs. I'm not going for that because that's not mourning. That's not outrage. That's opportunism. That's what that is.
That's robbery.
They're using Floyd's death as an excuse to loot these places. I'm not going for that. That's a protest. A protest is a peaceful thing. And I think they have every right to peacefully protest this man's death. Hell, I get it. I mean, I saw the video. It's clear cut. I mean, in my opinion, I can't imagine anything else.
Yep.
But these people have used this opportunity to loot businesses, to destroy. Now, the absolute best thing that these not manufacturers, but these retailers that are in these areas could do, don't rebuild. Do not enable this. Okay? They had it, and now they don't have it because they destroyed it. Well, guess what? Now they don't have it anymore. You have to look at teenage mentality here. Like, you give your kid a car, all right? Kid gets a car, goes out, wrecks it, treats it like shit, wrecks it, completely destroys it. Are you going to turn right around and give that kid another car? Is that what you're going to do?
Nope.
I don't think so. And that's when these retailers rebuild in these areas after destruction like this, that's exactly what they're doing. They're nothing but enablers. Now, look, I'm sorry, but these retailers that in these neighborhoods, I can't imagine they're making huge profits there. I'm sorry. I don't see that. And they're probably actually, truth be told, in a lot of these depressed areas, they're probably operating at a loss. So cut your losses. And now when they want to go to the store or whatever, now they just got to go a lot further, don't they?
The mayor of Chicago came out recently begging Walmart and Target not to abandon Chicago after Chicago rioters destroyed and looted Target and a Walmart. Because Walmart's talking about pulling out of all of the Chicago suburbs, including Chicago proper, and so is Target.
Good.
And
they
think
should.
about all
They should.
the jobs that are going to be lost, all the people that
Right.
are going to be out of work.
When you look at what those businesses have to go through in those areas, with everything that goes on there, with the crime and all of that, I mean, those employees, they're not safe. They're not safe in their own department store there. I mean, and again, if they're just going to act like a bunch of savages and destroy their own neighborhood, the last thing you do is rebuild it. Don't do that. Now, when it comes to, and this friend of mine I was telling you about earlier that the guy I used to work for, he's talking about race war this and race war that. Well, okay, let's talk about a race war. Let's get into the meat of this show tonight. What would a race war look like? Well, first off, you have to look at humanity as a whole before we go any further, okay? Humanity is essentially, as a species, we are made up of a bunch of subspecies. We got white people, we got black people, we got Asian people, we got Arabs, we got Indians, Native Americans, we got the Yanomami people of the Amazon River, whatever the hell they call them. Okay, we've got all these different kinds of people. But here's the thing: it's actually
Yanomami.
It's one of the reasons that the Yanomami people. Yeah, I learned about them in high school. Anyway, where was I going? It's one of these things that everybody in the human hierarchy, the human caste, if you will, brings something to the party. Okay, now in the case of the white man, what does the white man bring to the party? Well, actually, the white man brings two things to the party. The first thing the white man brings to the party is his ability to create. He's a builder. He builds stuff. He makes cities. He builds skyscrapers. He designs those things. Okay, that's one thing that the white man does for the human species. The second thing that the white man does is the white man makes the war. The white man has made the war from this day to day all the way back to whatever your particular flavor of Genesis is. Okay? The white man has made war all that time. He's good at making war. It's ingrained in all white men to make war. Let's be honest. It's true. So if we're going to have a racial conflict here, if that's really going to happen, and I can't believe it is, but I mean, black people would not last very long. I'm talking about if we got into a racial conflict, I could foresee the black race suing for peace relatively quickly. They would, because they're completely outnumbered by the white man. Now, that would be, I mean, if nobody wants that. I mean, nobody, I grew up with black people. I mean, the first person I lost in high school was somebody that was a black guy, and I'm still crushed by it, and it's been 30 fucking years. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants a race war. Well, at least white people don't. None of them that I do. But every time you keep hearing this more and more from the black community, race war, race war, race war. Now, let's assume that there is a race war. Now, somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. Now, here's the thing about a race war, why a race war is different than any other kind of conflict. Because once it's over, the survivors of the losing side, they'll no longer be able to cohabitate with the winners. That's over. In other words, you can't stay here anymore. There's no way that they would actually be able to continue to interact with the winner of a race war. Humanity doesn't work that way. There's no way. So I guess I'd put it under, and especially in this guy that I'm talking about, if he wants a race war so badly, I think I would probably chalk this one up to be real careful what you wish for. Because once something like that happens, it's over then. Black people I guess they call themselves African American, but I guess I always thought of them as American. And I think it's a real shame that they don't see themselves as an American. I really do. And I think that when we started putting labels on, like you're African American or this or that. I think that's where society really started to take a wrong turn. I really do.
Yeah. Or Asian American or Muslim American.
Right.
Saudi American, Israeli American.
Oh, you can be everything but a white American. If you say you're a white American, then you're a racist. You can be everything but that. Isn't that strange? It's true.
Yep.
It's true.
Or a Massachusetts American.
Right. I remember.
Had to get you in it, Jax. I knew I could.
You're right. In the Midwest, there in Ohio and Illinois, there is a KKK presence. There always was.
Yes.
Every year in Cincinnati, in Fountain Square, which is like the town, square of the city. Every year, all the religious leaders come together and they put crosses up or whatever their religious symbol is at Christmas time down there in the square. And this has gone on for, decades. The KKK always wants to put a cross down there. So every year, and you can count on it every year. They say they want to do it. There's a big court battle, and the KKK ends up winning every single time. And the reason that they do is because it is a matter of freedom of speech. It is. Now, do I agree with their speech? Oh, hell no. But that's not the point. Because see, once you start tinkering with the First Amendment, that end, pretty soon then none of us have speech, right?
Right.
But that happened every year. But there was one time, must have been about 85, I guess. I used to dip, chew tobacco, like that. I can't believe I used to do that shit, but I did. And one time, a friend of mine and I were going to go fishing. It's like Saturday afternoon, and we stop in a Kmart and get some bait or whatever. And as we're leaving the Kmart, I'll be damned if the KKK's not there out in the parking lot. And they've got like a line of them on each side of the entrance and exit, and they got like those big paint buckets, those big white paint buckets to take donations. All right. And I'd never seen that before. Since you heard about it, but I never seen it. So as we pull up, we're getting ready to pull out into the main thoroughfare there. A bunch of them came up to me, the Jew. Okay. They came up to me, the Jew, mouthful of tobacco, man. And they're wearing that white, all those white sheets and everything. And he said something, oh, you got to be with us, brother, or something like that. And I took that tobacco like this and went, boom, and inflicted. And as soon as it hit the first guy, it exploded on that white sheet. And you ain't going to get that shit out. It's ruined. And it got 3 or 4 of them. And we're in a Volkswagen Rabbit. Okay. And my buddy floors it, which, hell, we might as well have got out and pushed it. And as we're pulling away really slowly, here's all these fat guys in white sheets chasing us down the fucking boulevard. Oh, it was classic. But yeah, I'm not into the whole hate group thing, especially like the Black Panthers. That's a real thing. They're radical as hell. You can go on to YouTube and find all kinds of Black Panther videos talking about killing whites and all this other stuff. But they seem to be the exception. They seem to get a pass on that. Because look at how badly everybody else is messed with by YouTube. Give me a break,
Aha!
I guess
Sorry.
I guess I just wish that we could all go back to the 80s where we were all brothers,
right?
And I never saw any racial division in school. I never saw any racial tension. I never saw any racial problems. I never saw any of that. It just didn't happen. It was unheard of, But at this point, like we've seen today, Black people can scream all they want to about white people killing Black people, but I just showed some examples here, very recent examples of Black people, cold-bloodedly murdering that old couple in a cemetery, man.
Yeah, that's
really.
That's crazy.
But that's not considered a racial attack. That's not even a hate crime. This has to change. It has to change. So anyway, we've been on about an hour. You guys want to call it, or you guys want to keep going? You want to call it? What do you want to do?
I don't mind keep going if you guys want to.
I'm good.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. All right. What else have I got here? I
was going to say this, and Nobody's mentioning the fact that in the riots, there was that young black man that was trying to defend his store, and it was black rioters that killed him.
Yeah.
They killed their own. That wasn't a police matter. It was black on black crime again. And then
which means
what about that car that pulled up that had a black police officer in it? And that Muslim man ran up to him and shot him, point blank, killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Broad daylight. No cops responded, and they were standing right there.
It's just it's unreal. It's absolutely unreal what's going on here. I mean, you know, when to me, it's like how can I put this? We're going to have to do something radical is going to have to happen, because right now all we keep hearing is racism and white people, the white apologists everywhere for racism. And again, I've never seen any racism. I mean, I've got black friends, and you know, I've got a few that say they've experienced racism, but by and large, a lot of them haven't. So, you know, is there a racial problem in this country? I can't say. I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it. Some people there are, some people there aren't.
I think it's more of the old school is
Yeah.
the ones that's having the problem with the racism.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because it.
Like our generation, like our parents probably lived through more racism than anybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now our generation, we're starting to slowly come out of it. And then the next generation that's coming up, they'll be a little bit better off. I mean, this is the first time they had riots over someone that I mean, the guy didn't die, but back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, Rodney King, when that guy got beat up, we had all those riots going on. That I remember a specific video. That black kid, I don't know what provoked him to do it, pulled that poor truck driver out of the freaking truck and slammed him right in the temple with the brick. I remember that clear as day. I'm like, how is that going to help anything? It's not going to help.
Right. It's not, but you're talking about a person that's acting on impulse. Okay.
Correct.
Instead of thinking things through, it's 100% impulse, and it's violent impulse. That's the problem. Yep. You know, I mean, I got to tell you, I've over the years, again, I've never say that I've actually ever seen any racism, but I have seen a lot of black. Well, here's one for you. I've actually had this happen to me twice. And the first time I thought, what? But then I heard it again years later and by a different person. And what it was two black people saying that they hate their race. They can't stand their own people. And I've had two black people tell me that now. Now, I can't imagine saying that, you know, I hate white people or any race for that matter. But I mean, I can't imagine, you know, loathing my own people. There's something wrong with that. You know, there's something unnatural about that. But it, you know, like I say, it's happened. But I mean, at this point, the only way to stop the violence in these inner cities is to start putting people in prison. And now you've got these big cities like New York and LA and all that with these no bail, California, I should say, with these no bail deals where as long as you didn't kill anybody, you get processed and let right back out on the street. All right. I mean, we've seen what a bad idea that is during the COVID-19 thing when we were letting sex offenders out. And guess what? They went out reoffended.
New Jersey's talking about letting out the majority of their inmates due to COVID-19 spread.
Right. Due to a virus that basically kills almost nobody. And
right.
On the COVID-19 thing, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and they're talking about passing a red flag gun bill to where all citizens get all their guns removed. So you're going to have all these felons out on the street getting illegal weaponry, right? Breaking into your house, stealing your stuff, and you have no way to defend yourself because your guns are going to be gone.
I don't know what I don't know what everybody's politics is, but you know what? Democrats are pushing that shit. Sorry. I mean, that's a Democrat thing. You know, I remember back in the day when gun rights were a Democrat thing, back in like back before Reagan. Because if you think about it, Reagan was the one that put the first gun ban on. That's Republican as hell. You know, the 86 ban, May 18th of 86, which forbade us from having automatic weapons for the most part, or armor piercing bullets, things like that. You know, I got a great story. Now that I'm thinking about, we're talking about human outrage and how easy it is to outrage people and how often the government does this on purpose. I got a great example of that. Speaking of guns, must have been early 90s. It was right before the internet. And Winchester Firearms, everybody knows who they are. They've been around forever. They came out with this new line of pistol bullets called the Black Talon. Okay. Now, it was a wicked hollow point. It was something space age hollow point. It's yesterday's news now, 30 years later, or 20 something years later. But at the time, it was cutting edge hollow point. It was a nasty bullet. And but here's the thing. It came in a nickel casing, nickel plated, casing, which means nothing for performance. It's just when you see nickel coated bullets, that means they're premium ammo versus brass. That's why they do that. Right. And then the actual tip of this bullet was dyed black. All right. Now, in the military, when you got a black tip on a bullet, that denotes an armor piercing round. And there's all kinds of different color codes, but a black one is armor piercing, which of course we as the citizenry are no longer allowed to have. So anyway, Congress, and it was a Democrat thing. Democrats in Congress got wind of this, that there's a black bullet out there, and it automatically became, oh my God, it's killing cops everywhere, because they care about cops when, it suits them. And it's going right through bulletproof vests, it's killing kids in schools and all these horrific things, and they're telling their base all this shit, okay? They're pumping these people up. The whole time, Winchester's saying, no, it doesn't, and we'll show you. And this is like, again, right before the internet. But so they took a congressional delegation out, put a vest on a dummy, shot it a bunch of times. Now, I wouldn't have wanted to get hit in a soft vest with one of those things. But then again, I don't want to get hit with anything in a soft vest. It's all going to suck. But anyway, this goes back and forth, and there was hearings and all this, and millions of dollars, and God knows how many hours were wasted on the Black Talon until finally Winchester said, you know what? Hell with it. We'll just stop making that bullet. We'll just no longer make that round. And the Democrats cheer, yay, we won. See, we told you, we're working for you. We're keeping you safe. 3 weeks later, Winchester introduces a new line of ammunition. I believe it's called the HST. You can still buy them today. You know what it was? The exact same bullet, only instead of the tip being dyed black, it was copper coated, and they put it in a brass case, regular brass case. And cops, that's like one of the cops' favorite bullets to this day. And it was, that's just an example of how the government can fool the people into thinking there's a problem when there isn't one.
Yep.
Right.
So, that was just, to me, that unbelievable. But, at this point, I think what's happening here, I think it's probably going to get a whole lot worse. I think that it's a shame that all the people that had to close their businesses and stuff now have to deal with civil unrest of all damn things. Think about that. Can you ever imagine we'd be dealing with some shit like this?
No. But see, I almost think that it was the Democrats had not just regular Democrats. I'm talking the extreme left. The extreme left.
That's the problem.
Actually, and I'm talking elected officials. I'm not talking the common Democrat either. The extreme left elected officials, in my opinion, are pushing the agenda with the riots. Not in the beginning, but they are now. And from what I understand, George Soros is a big player in this, multi-billionaire, and he was quoted as saying that he's going to bring down the economy before the next election.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's
Right.
going to make sure that Trump doesn't get reelected. And that is the whole point of the orchestrated rioting.
A foreigner that's trying to meddle in our elections. I think he's from Hungary, is it? I think we just need to go there and say, look, give him up. Every male in his family, we'll leave you alone. And if you don't do it, here come the tomahawks. We want him now. And take it. Just, you know what? The hell with him. Why can't we just kill somebody anymore? Why can't we just do that? I mean, this guy's been fucking with us forever. Why don't we just take him out? Where's the CIA on this stuff? Where are they? Oh, I think I know. I think I know what's wrong with the CIA.
Yeah.
I think it might be their new leader.
Could be.
Regardless, I mean, we have just gotten so soft as a country. We used to be feared and respected, and we're just not anymore. Not even. I mean, come on. We the kneeling of the flag and all that. See, when I think about my grandfather when he went over to fight the war, Second World War in Europe, and I got an uncle that did a couple of tours, I guess, as a door gunner on a Huey in Vietnam, and I've got several military people in my lineage. You know, what would they think about this? My grandfather's probably rolling over in his urn. He really probably is.
Yeah.
What a shame.
I tell you, after serving in the military myself, there is no way that I would take a knee during the national anthem.
God, no.
You stand.
I don't care what your problem is.
You stand.
That's right.
Or if you're in a wheelchair, you sit. But you have your hand over your heart when you say the Pledge of Allegiance. Or
show respect.
Show respect, yes.
And that's what that is. It's showing respect to the people that have fought and died, to give you the freedom to stand there, to give you to give you your very conception, probably. You know,
actually, it's to show respect to the people that gave you the right to riot.
Right, exactly.
And the right to protest.
We've taught a generation of kids.
When you go out there as a rioter and you deface public memorials to soldiers who have guaranteed your right to do what you're doing,
it's sick.
Missing everything that they did for you.
Right.
They gave you the right to do what you're doing, and you are disregarding that and disrespecting that. And in my mind, that is treason.
We've let the leftists get in and write our educational criteria for our children now for the last, generation or two. And it shows that we've done that. We have a generation of children that are absolutely a bunch of weaklings. I mean, if you need to say, what a safe space was? And when I was growing up, safe space was, hey, I'd go hide in the closet. The old man didn't kick my ass because it's something I did wrong. That was my safe space. You know what? He always found me. I mean, the man like a bloodhound. And we have that now. We have to coddle these children. What we're doing is we're ill preparing them for the real world. And we're going to have a generation of kids out there that don't have a friggin' clue how to run their own lives. So what's going to happen to them when they can't do that? Guess what? They become welfare recipients, right? Which is actually, I think, what a lot of people in the government want. They want a nanny state. I mean, what a better way to control the people when you have control of their every dime they make. Perfect. Right. And I wonder about that.
Right.
But I just can't imagine the police allowing these looters, these rioters, to get away with what they got away with. And the reason that they did, I think, in my opinion, is because they didn't want to shoot any black people because it would look bad. And I think that's what happened here. And I think that's why these people got a pass. I really do.
Most likely.
I mean, if anybody else has a better idea on that, because
Minneapolis is not just talking about defunding their police department. Now they're talking about dismantling it and having.
Right.
I watched a couple videos on it today. The discussion was about having EMT helicopters, like rescue helicopters, and EMTs in RMS vehicles, emergency services vehicles like ambulances and whatnot, respond to crimes. And
sure, Sure.
use a holistic approach and community outreach. Well, I'm going to say this to you. That's not going to work when you have criminals armed to the teeth. It's not going to work. It's not going to stop a murder. It's not going to stop a house invasion. It's not going to stop somebody hijacking your car. It's not going to stop anybody from stealing your stuff. It's not.
I mean, it's laughable in a way.
They're just going to laugh at you.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be kidding me. It's who's going to apply for that job? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, we want you to be a police officer, but we're not gonna let you be armed, and we're gonna send you into the inner cities, and you can go out there and you can outreach and you can just talk to these people and you can talk them down and you can talk their gun out of their hand and all that. You know what? You're gonna have a lot of dead bodies in a lot of boxes. That's. I mean, it's this fantasy. It's like, and again, man, look, hey, man, I grew up Democrat and I'm still liberal about some shit, a lot of shit, but come on. We don't need a police force. We are a bunch of weirdo scumbags in this country. That's what we kind of are. I mean, it's like we have an asshole factory, okay? And it's running 24/7, 3 shifts, and that's what, like, these women, I saw today, there was that woman governor, what was her name? I guess from Michigan. She's talking about defunding the police. Whitmer. She claims to be She claims to be a rape survivor, yet she wants to defund the cops? Really? I wonder how many women are going to get raped after that, dumbass. I mean, come on. See, this is, but there you go. Look who's in charge.
Will not survive no police force.
No city will. No city in America will. You have to have that element of law and order. You have to. This isn't Star Trek, okay? We're not at that level yet where we can walk around and everything's cool and everybody's cool and we're all equal and we're all in love with each other. We're not there by a damn sight. And we need to have that element of control as human beings. I mean, we just do. And when as soon as that element is taken away, of control is taken away, things will get out of control immediately. But hey, you know what? Fine, do it. That's fine. Go ahead and do it. I'm not concerned about it because I have let's just say the ability to create an international incident if I want to. All right. I'm not concerned, but everybody else should be.
I'll be right back.
But as far as gun owners go, if all the guns are taken away and then there's no more police force, then what?
Then we have total anarchy, total chaos. We no longer have a country. Then it's over. The party is over at that point. I mean, the reason that we're able to interact, in my opinion, that we're able to interact with each other in a civilized way at this point is because we do have those deterrents. We do have police. We do have armed people and things like that. And I think that by and large, that tends to keep the wildness tamped down a bit. But you're right. What happens when all that stuff is gone? Shit's going to hit the fans. What's going to happen? And these women, I keep trying to tell the American female the same thing. I've said this, and I don't know how many videos I've said this in, but the bottom line here is the fact that they're the ones that are going to lose the most, because as soon as the next Civil War rolls around, I really believe in my heart that when the dust settles, the American female is going to be the one that pays for it, because I think she's going to get a lot of the blame. I do. I mean, my God, man. We built a civilization specifically for the American female. I mean, we did. I mean, think about it. What guy ever did anything great that he wasn't doing it to try to impress a chick? I've done it. Every guy's done that. Yep. So when that's gone and you say, okay, well, no problem, we just won't do anything else. Well, the American female, she's the one that loses. I mean, because the fact of the matter is she can't handle this country by herself. I personally think, well, I'm not going to get into that, but I mean, I got a real problem with the American female as a rule. I just kind of do. I mean, I'm just tired of the ungrateful crap, and it is ungrateful. I'm tired of this business of screaming rape, walking up screaming rape against somebody that didn't do it, and then if they by some miracle they get found, that the woman was lying about what happened, she might get a year in jail. She might get 6 months. Now, you want to stop that shit? You want to knock that shit off immediately? If a woman screams rape against a man and is found that she actually falsified her claim, she should get the kind of time in prison that he was going to get. If he was going to get 30 years, there you go. And all we have to do is do that a couple times and they'll catch on. I'm not saying that if a woman's raped, she shouldn't report it. But if you falsify that, I got no sympathy. None. It's like the Kavanaugh thing, man. I mean, here's what I don't get. The Brett Kavanaugh situation was a woman saying that this guy essentially grabbed her boobs at a party 30 some odd years ago. Now, she named 3 witnesses that were aware of this. One of those was a lifelong friend of hers and a female. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, all 3 of those witnesses could not corroborate any of Christine Ford's story. None of it. They said, look, we don't know what she's talking about. And the woman witness even came out after it was all said and done and said her story just didn't make sense, because it didn't. But now you got, what's his name? Joe Biden. You got Joe Biden, and he's out there. We've seen this guy get way friendlier with women on camera than I would ever do.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm not trying to walk up behind a woman and sniff her hair unless I'm trying to hit that. Sorry, but that's true. That's why I don't go walk up and sniff my mom's hair. All right?
I'm also not kissing young girls on the lips.
No,
and we're talking
God,
teenagers, to say hi. Come on.
Yeah.
Right. No, thanks. I'm not with that. So then we got his accuser. I'm trying to think of her name, but his accuser. Now she's a little bit different because after
Tegan.
What is it?
Tegan.
Tegan, is it? Okay. Now, okay. So after her alleged encounter, okay, or assault, let's call it what it is, assault, she actually went out and told a bunch of people. She told her brother right after it happened. She told some friends right after it happened, things like that. So, but nobody on the left wants to believe this woman because she's accusing someone on the left. So they're going to do everything they can do to absolutely discredit this woman, and they have. They've done everything they could possibly do. But she actually has more let's just say more they call that kind of exculpatory evidence, because there's people coming out all over saying, yeah, she told us about it years ago when it happened. Christine Ford didn't have that, but yet we bought that shit hook, line, and sinker no matter what. Brett Kavanaugh is a sex pervert. Okay, no matter what. We bought that hook, line, and sinker with nothing. Absolutely zero evidence. Right. Nothing.
He was railroaded. Yep.
But we'll ignore Biden's accuser. And like I say, she's at least got the fact that she told people about the shit when it happened.
Don't you think, though, the reason why they're ignoring Biden's accuser is because he's already their biggest investment? They put so much money into him already, and he's already the presumptive candidate for the Democratic Party. Right. So they feel like they really can't do anything about it. Now, aren't they really just setting him up to lose? Because if he loses, then whoever he picks as vice president will become president, right? I mean, if because he'll probably
if he dies
after that.
Right. So then that's why that you have to pay real close attention to who his running mate's going to be. It's probably going to be Kamala Harris, I think, which I don't see that ticket making it. But
I've actually
bottom line is
that Klobuchar from Minnesota is up there high on the list right at the moment.
Yeah, she is. But she's got a problem now. Biden boxed himself in by making some racist statements. So now he may have to go with a woman of color, is what they're saying.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's like I was talking to that guy I was telling you about that I used to work for. We're going back and forth on Facebook today. And like I told him, I said, when Joe Biden referred to black children as roaches,
yeah,
I remember hearing that statement. And I honestly, as God is my witness, guys, I had never heard that before. I had never heard of black children being referred to as roaches. I had to ask somebody, because with the way he was talking in his statement, throwing an insect in there didn't make any sense. I'm going, what the hell? And then I think it was somebody on Facebook said, oh, that means that black children. And now this guy today, he's trying to deny, oh, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. I sent him the fucking video. It's right there. Yeah, he said it. You know, they wanted to cook Donald Trump for quid pro quo. But when we look at the Biden video in the Ukraine, he clearly says, hey, I told him I'm going to get on the plane. If that guy still has a job, you don't get the money. What do you call that?
Yeah, that's quid.
I mean, what is that a textbook example of?
Quid pro quo.
You know, absolutely. So in theory, even if he got elected, he'd have to be impeached.
You know, if you don't vote for Biden, you're not black enough.
I couldn't believe that one.
He did say that.
I think what they've done, the Democrat Party, is let's take the all political feelings and put them aside for a second. I mean, they've backed the guy here that Joe Biden, in my opinion, and I think most people's opinion, he's clearly losing his mental faculties.
Yeah,
he's always been a gaffe master, but he's not there. Okay, so they want, and now that they've already put all their eggs in the Biden basket, they're going to have to go with him. Now, I tell you, I'm going to call something right now. I'm calling my shot right now. Okay, I do not believe that there is any way that the Democratic Party will allow Joe Biden to debate Donald Trump. I don't think it's going to happen. Now, he kind of has to.
Although he came out publicly today,
right,
in a statement, Biden came out and said, I am looking forward to debating Donald Trump.
Yes,
I cannot wait.
Right. And the internet said neither can we. But the point is, my point is, I bet you, I'd be willing to bet hard currency here that what'll happen is when they get up to the debate time to get the debates going, what Biden will do, he'll say, oh, I'm not even going to be on the same stage with that racist. He'll say that to get out of the debate. And I bet you real money that's going to happen. Yep.
Yeah.
Even after he's already said, yep, I can see it. You know?
Yeah.
You know what scares me? That some of that book I wrote is actually kind of playing out here. I mean, I wrote that entire book, and it's a hardy book. It's a thick book. I wrote that book in 59 days. I mean, I've written books before, and they take 6 months. Strange Tales took me 6 months, but it was like I was possessed when I was writing that book, and I'd have to step away from it periodically because the story that I was writing was so disturbing and sick, frankly, that I actually had to ask myself, am I okay? Is a person that can put some shit like that down on paper, is that person okay? Well, the jury's still out. But yeah.
Nah, you're all right.
But I guess we probably ought to close it down here, guys. I have not slept in well over 48 hours. I'll be honest with you. I'm about to die.
What day is it? Just kidding.
This is Friday. I know this is Friday. If you'd asked me that during the week, I couldn't tell you. I'd have to look at my phone. Yeah.
I'm more than willing to call it quits. That'd be fine.
Here's the thing. They say that I'm working my ass off to buy, all these toys and stuff that I want and all that. And let me tell you something. When I'm dead laying there in that box, I'm going to be the best toy collection having this dead man you guys ever met in your life. I promise. I'll be dead, but he who dies with the most toys wins. That's what I'm shooting for.
Okay. Well, there's one last thing I want to say. I am fearing for people of all races because this is a fearful situation that's happening in our country. And I'm fearful also for people of handicap status, such as myself, because I can't get away.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that.
See, I cannot get away quickly because I'm in a chair. Mm-hmm. But there are other people that are worse off than I am, and they're not going to be able to get away either. And what happens when the country decides to legalize euthanasia and get rid of the handicapped people? What about that?
Well, let's hope nothing like that ever happens. Although
that is something that is being suggested.
yeah. Well, look at it like this. Okay. Think about when Cuomo was sending those sick elderly patients back into the nursing homes.
Yeah, that's
knowing that they're always the most at-risk group for any disease, any flu, anything, any doctor will tell you the same thing. The elderly are always at risk. So they're taking these people that they know are positive. These are hot patients, and they're putting them in these homes, and it's killing the hell out of the elderly. Now, right now, I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy. That's not my bag, but I got to tell you that the elderly cost the state a lot of money every year. They cost the state a lot of money. And I don't know. It seems like that might be a way to, let's just say, lighten that expense.
Eliminate the surplus cost. Yep.
If anybody that sent elderly people back into those homes, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they're criminally liable for that. I just don't see any other way around.
Blasio and Cuomo in that state are messed up in the head.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I say, man. I mean, I'm liberal about a lot of things.
My opinion,
but Jesus, come on.
I'm white.
Anyway, racist. You're a racist, man.
Yeah,
you are a racist.
Jackson,
look at that. Yeah, look at that. Look at those white faces. And I'm so fucking tired of every little thing, anything. If you disagree with a black person, it's because you're a racist. It's not because you have a different point of view. If you disagreed with Obama, it's because you're a racist. It's not because you just didn't agree with whatever he was doing.
Obama, you're a racist. You're not. You're just not black enough.
Right. Just not black enough. God, I can't believe that. And again, these people, they take that shit and they just like, okay, no big deal. Okay, I'm still going to vote for him. That you got the here's the one that really got me though, man. That woman that's accusing Biden, one of her friends, the friend of hers that she told, as a matter of fact, about it back when it happened, she said, well, yeah, she told me about it in great detail, but I'm still going to vote for Biden. So you're so stuck on your political party that you are willing to vote for someone that sexually assaulted your friend? Really?
Yeah, that's sick.
I mean, really?
That's sick, yeah.
There's just something inherently all screwed up with that now. I mean, my God. But that's how politically ingrained people are, man. I used to be that person.
I know people in the state of Minnesota that will vote for someone just by name recognition. So say, for instance, Klobuchar is running again. Well, they'll vote for her because they've heard her name over and over and over again. So they're familiar with the name. So they'll see it on the ballot and they'll go, oh, I know her. Check mark.
Yep.
It isn't.
And that's why they spend.
Yeah, it's not.
That's why they spend so much money on advertising.
Right. It's not based on how good of a politician they are. It's based on what they've done. It's based on their name.
Yeah, they don't know their record or anything else, but they know that name. So, oh yeah, well, that sounds okay. They spent a lot of money on her. She must be good.
I'm voting for Paranormal Underworld for president in 2020.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been saying it for a long time. We got to get a man in it and get the shit done.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
All right, guys. Listen, let's go ahead and sign off here, guys. Like I said, I'm about ready to drop. Jack's brother, I appreciate you coming. Tim, thank you for this, man. Thank you for backing me up. I owe you one. You ever need anything, a live stream from me, you got it.
Yep.
Thank you for having
me. Guys, we're up. Yeah, you're welcome, man. We're up shit creek here, fellas. I mean, I think it's going to get deeper before it gets better. I really do.
Yeah, if you need us for another live stream, just give us a holler, Tommy.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm definitely going to do some more. It's just like I can't believe I'm still functional. I mean, look at my eyes. Look at that. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, let's see. Last time I slept was.
I've seen worse lately with other people, so you're actually doing quite well.
I'll tell you one thing, it curbed my drinking. It did that. I was getting a little bit too much on the sauce there, to be honest with you. And now that it's just no longer a factor.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Well, you got to figure. This is what I've been going through. So let's say I'll work an 8-hour shift at work, which I work from home, and then so that's 8 hours, and then I might sleep 4 hours. So then I go to my second job and I work an 8-hour shift there. I come home and I got like an hour in between the time that I'm home and I can log into work. I could sleep, and I tried to do that, and that was a mistake because the first time I did that, my boss called me up at 3 o'clock going, "Where the hell are you?" I passed out. I'm like, well, I passed out. But like I say, so I got a day at work, a day at the second job. I come home, then I work another 8-hour shift. So I got 3 shifts right there in a row with no sleep, none. 16 hours, 16. That's 3 8-hour shifts,
Yeah.
and then I'll only have another 4 hours of sleep again. So, it's like you said. I mean, you asked me what day of the week it is during the midweek. I have to look at my phone. I have no idea. It'll all be worth it in the end, though, when I'm dead in 2 years.
Yeah. Well, do us a favor and keep in touch.
Yeah, I will. I'll call you guys from hell. Dad, be better. No. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream.
All righty.